What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today. It is the 29th day of July, and here we are at about $64.3 thousand with roughly 9.5 hours left in the day. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here, and let's get into it. Okay, here we are. Finding resistance now at prior points of resistance, finding support at prior points of support. We've been volatile throughout this range. Why should it be any different to the downside here? But I do suspect that we're going to be moving lower. As I said yesterday, I think that we are in the midst of a move now that will take us to our bear market finale finish. And that bear market finale move could take us below 50K and perhaps as low as 43K. I'm expecting that we're either going to find support somewhere very near these lows or something just below this low here. And that low, just to put it in perspective, is right there at 49K. So this is the realm, the area of attraction, in my opinion. This is where I think we're going to go. This is where I think we're going to go. So somewhere just above, just below, whatever. Overall, the overarching bottom area is defined as 55K to 43K, somewhere in this range. But right there in the heart, I think we're going to be, again, somewhere close to this kind of central zone there. Next to this low, just below it, just above it, whatever. I'm a broken record. Let's get into the short-term stuff and go from there. 1 hour time frame, looking at this here. Coming down a little bit to start off the day. When's the FOMC meeting? Right, it's today the 29th. 2 p.m. Eastern time, so that's going to be like 3.5 hours from here from now. Okay, so we'll probably move one direction going into the FOMC meeting, and then during the FOMC meeting move the opposite direction and then dump. So if we pump into it, we'll dump into it, and then we'll dump after it as well. That's my expectation. If we dump going into it, then once the FOMC meeting happens, we'll pump, and then we'll dump afterwards. I do expect that we're going to dump after the FOMC meeting. I don't think that we're going to continue pumping. This is likely just a lower high from here. And looking at this 1 hour candle right now, this is a pretty aggressive drop. But we are in the early hours of the day. It's completely possible that we see some volatility before moving a little bit higher. We could move a little bit higher before going lower, but I do think we're near, if not at, a lower high point right here. 1 hour RSI, rejecting the overbought zone, getting oversold. That's not good. That's definitely bearish. The MACD doesn't look too bad here, but you've been green for so long, it might be time to flip red. You can stay green for a long time. I mean, you were green here for a long time, but it might be time for you to flip red. You didn't really do too much to the upside, and again, here you are just finding resistance in this area. Stochastics are taking on a bit of a bearish shape, but still overall bullish. Stochastics here at the 50, perfect area to reject. The MACD looks bearish on the 4 hour time frame, and the RSI also looks bearish on the 4 hour. You are getting lower highs, bouncing off the oversold zone. That's a little bit bullish, not going to lie, but coming down, if you come down here right now, we see lower lows. You stand a better chance of getting oversold than any of these other moments that you've had in this consolidation range. If you get oversold on this 4 hour time frame, I suspect that would result in a breakout of this range as a whole. And what do I mean by breakout? I don't just mean like this. I mean we would see something definite, something that has some volume added to it. It's a little bit more encouraging or decisive as far as price action goes. Nothing that's going to make you think, well, maybe we could bounce here. I don't think it would be like that. That wouldn't be a breakout. It would be something more aggressive than that. So if we get oversold on this 4 hour time frame, we likely do see a more aggressive move than what we've seen, I mean, really all month of July. Daily time frame here, looking at this, the MACD has just crossed red, and we've been red now for, this is the second day after being green for quite some time. We crossed above the zero and had a very weak reaction. I'm telling you, this MACD is what's making me the most bearish right here, this daily MACD, because when you cross above the zero, when you get rid of your bearish divergence like you did here, you started building bullish momentum. The world's your oyster, man. You should have had it. You should have had no problem moving up, but you did. You had a big problem moving up, and instead you've moved down ever since you had these really bullish things happen. It just makes me think that not a whole lot happened when the bulls were in control. Now the bears are starting to show their hand, and we'll just see what goes on. I think we're going to see an aggressive move here over the coming weeks to the downside. The RSI, rejecting the overbought zone, rejecting this area that you typically do reject in the bear markets. You've got this higher low trend right here, and we're starting to break out of it. I suspect with this break, that will again be kind of a catalyst that ignites this more aggressive move to the downside. And sometime in August, I'm thinking mid-August, you guys, mid-August, somewhere around the 10th to the 20th, we're going to see the bear market low. If not then perhaps we meander and we see a slightly lower low in September, somewhere in this time frame though, guys. August, September, calling for it to be in August. That's where I think the low is going to be. And when I think the low is going to be. Stochastics look bearish. MACD looks bearish. The RSI looks bearish. All of them bearish on the daily time frame. Any move up from here will not be long-lived. And then, of course, we have the weekly time frame. We have flipped green after flipping red. The MACD doesn't know what to do with itself. This kind of inconsistent running in the histogram where you get these little fake out moves on the histogram, flipping green, flipping red, whatever. They happen in choppy sideways ranges like this. So that kind of makes sense that this is happening. All I'm trying to say there is that this green flip is not as dramatic as it might seem. We flipped green, and we've been green now for the past couple of weeks, and nothing's coming of it. Whenever you have something bullish or something that should be bullish come into play and nothing bullish happens as a result, that could be pretty bad. That's not that exciting. That's the opposite of exciting. That's builds a little bit of anticipation to the downside, in my opinion. Yeah, target area is 55 to 43K, specifically around that 50K level, that 49K level, something around these lows, around these highs. That's where I think we're going to go over the next 30 days or less. I've got nothing else. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. FOMC, people are talking about rate hikes, rate cuts, whatever. I could see one of two things. What I'm imagining happening, and I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. I've been right before too. What I think is going to happen is they're not going to change rates. They're not going to cut them. They're not going to raise them. But they're going to talk about raising them. And then maybe during the next FOMC meeting they raise them, or perhaps they talk about cutting them. They could talk about cutting them. I don't think we're going to get a rate change, but I think the next rate change is going to happen on the next FOMC meeting, which will be, I believe, the last FOMC meeting before the midterms. Let's see. Let me see here. Hold on. Trying to figure out how I can get this. Let's see. There we go. July. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what, that would be the 9th. The 9th is the next one. 2, 3, 4 of September. Hold on. And then the 14th of October. The 14th will be the last one, I think, before the November elections, before the midterms. I would imagine they cut rates actually right before midterms, personally. If they don't cut rates, if they hike them, I still think the market will receive it positively. But I think they're going to cut rates before the midterm. They did this last time during the election. They cut rates before the election. I think they'll cut rates before the midterms. Stimulate the economy, make people favor the administration. It's that decade-old, age-old tactic. In which case, maybe what they'll do today is not actually talk about hiking rates. They're going to talk about cutting rates, but they're not. They're going to seem dovish, but I bet they don't do anything. They probably keep rates the same. What are the odds? Let's do this. Hold on, Poly Market. Nice. I'm proud of you. Fed decision. So 25 basis decrease, no change, 75%. Yeah, that's probably the most likely outcome. Yeah. That's my thoughts. I know everybody's saying that the increase, that percentage has gone up. I don't think it's going to go up, man. I don't think we get an increase. I don't think we get a decrease either. I think we just see no change, and they're going to talk about an increase. Do we have, is there a way, let's see, FOMC, can we bet FOMC? Can we bet on the next one? Fed decision in September. Or maybe they won't talk about, okay, because we still have one in October. So they won't talk about changing it here. It'll say neutral. They're going to take their stance. Then the next one, they'll talk about shifting it. Fed decision in October. This is when they should cut rates. Because they're not going to increase rates and then decrease rates. Does that make sense? Decrease rates. 10% chance. I'm telling you, that's great odds. That's great odds, man. 10%. If that doubles to 20, that you're doubling your money right there. I might have to throw a bet. How much? What's the open interest on this bad boy? 363,000. Yeah, that's enough to have some fun. Yeah, I'm gonna buy some of this, guys. I'm gonna get my wife to buy some too. She's got Kalshi. I think they. I would assume they have this on Kalshi. Not all the same bets are across these markets. It makes sense, right? They're gonna cut rates before the midterms. And if they cut rates on this FOMC meeting, which is a less than 1% chance of happening, or they cut rates during the next one, which is a little bit more likely than 1%, if they cut those at all, they might not cut them in October, but the percentage that they could cut them goes up still. And you're at 10%. You're at such a good level. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I mean, look here. At one point, it was worth 16%. That's a 60% increase. You don't have to. It doesn't have to come true for you to make money on it. You guys know how prediction markets work. Anyways, just a thought. I don't normally do prediction market stuff, but this one seems maybe worth taking a swing at. Bitcoin moving down. That's the main idea. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all. Take care. Bye-bye.